Right, so much to come, but we start with Liverpool, who travel to the Emirates tomorrow night for a huge showdown with the league leaders Arsenal. Live to our reporter Vinny O'Connor. Vinny, good afternoon to you. We've been speaking Liverpool all day with our fans here in the studio as well. You've been speaking to the main man, Arne Slot, earlier today. What did he have to say about the centre-back situation and potentially, Vinny, missing out on Marc Guéhi?
Well, there was a bit of a cheeky moment, really, from Arne Slot. Clearly, he had to be asked about Marc Guéhi, but in the press conference today, it was another reporter who asked him about it rather than myself. And Arne Slot quipped back that maybe I'd learnt my lesson by not asking him because you know that he's not going to say anything about transfers. The actual truth of the matter is that I'd done an interview with Arne Slot prior to his press conference and I'd asked about Marc Guéhi in that interview with him as well. That's something you'll be able to see tomorrow on Sky Sports News in the Premier League show as well, ahead of the game against Arsenal. But as I say, we were right to ask about Marc Guéhi because of the situation that Liverpool have found themselves in. They had that £35 million bid accepted by Crystal Palace in the summer on deadline day, of course. Ultimately, that deal didn't go through, and now there's the interest from Manchester City. So there is the prospect on Liverpool missing out on a target, and at times this season they've had to operate with just two fit, experienced centre-halves in Ibrahima Konate and Virgil van Dijk because of the injuries to Joe Gomez, Giovanni Leone as well, who they've got high hopes for, but obviously on his debut against Southampton he went down with that ACL injury. So obviously it would make sense for them to add to their centre-half options in Marc Guéhi, but that interest, of course, from Manchester City complicates things somewhat. So Arne Slot was asked about the prospect of still bringing in Marc Guéhi during this transfer window, or indeed what disappointment it would be were they to miss out to a club like Manchester City, and this is what Arne Slot had to say.
Now, Vinny is always asking the first question, and usually I expected this question from him, but he now knows that I never talk about transfers in public, let alone talking about a transfer from maybe another club. So yeah, he after 1.5 years now knows it's no use of asking that question, but you can try, but my answer is always the same. We don't talk about players that are not ours. I think there's no manager in the world that would tell you, oh, I'm completely happy that I only have 2 centre-backs available. But you have to look at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is that we've signed an unbelievable talented player with Giovanni Leone, who will be back next season. And this is the way this club works.
So, Vinny, a huge game tomorrow night at the Emirates. Mikel Arteta's men 14 points clear of Slot's champions. That wasn't on many people's bingo cards in August, was it?
No, it wasn't. I think there's a good deal of frustration at Liverpool as well because they've come up with big performances at times this season. Go back to Inter Milan in the Champions League. Go back to earlier in the season and third game into the season, just before the first international break. And, of course, Liverpool ran out winners against Arsenal as well. That stunning Dominic Szoboszlai strike that gave Liverpool all 3 points. And that was the third game in to a 7-game winning streak in all competitions. But, of course, then came the defeat to Crystal Palace. And that was the start of a run where they went 9 defeats in 12 games as well. Since then, they've been able to pick up somewhat. They're unbeaten in the last 8 in the Premier League, of course, but it's 4 wins and 4 draws in that time, 2 consecutive draws as well. As you say, it leaves them 14 points behind Arsenal at the moment, 8 points behind Aston Villa and Manchester City, who are 3rd and 2nd in the Premier League at the moment, respectively as well. I think there's an acceptance at the moment that Liverpool playing a part in this title race now, or even retaining the title, is highly unlikely. But at the same time, they've still got plenty to play for, of course, qualifying for next season's Champions League, as well as still having this season's Champions League to concentrate on, and the FA Cup as well coming up at the weekend as well. So still the potential to deliver a trophy this season. But certainly, if the unlikely is to happen and Liverpool are to get back into the race for the title now, then clearly they need to take all 3 points against Arsenal. They certainly can't afford to lose this one.
Vinny, thank you very much, mate. There we go, Vinny O'Connor live after that Arne Slot press conference, which I know you've been watching this afternoon. Rob Earnshaw, great to have you with us. Here's straight in with the big question. Who needs Marc Guéhi more, Liverpool, Manchester City?
It's a hard one. To be honest, both. Especially when you look at, I was at the Manchester City game the other day and Ruben Diaz goes down injured and Gvardiol goes down injured as well. So 2 key players for Manchester City. So if you look at that, probably maybe Man City, but I would say that Virgil van Dijk, that he needs a partner. Konate's been below par, even though he's very, very good. but definitely maybe Man City if I was going to pick a team that needs him more. But interesting how 6 months changes everything. 6 months ago, of course, Liverpool, for sure. He was almost done. But then now you think the most likely would be probably go to Man City because they're competing. You play under Guardiola, and they've also got injuries. So maybe it might be the perfect moment for Guéhi to, in 6 months it completely changes and he's going to be playing against Liverpool.
Yeah, James, I know our Palace fan Reece here doesn't want to hear about Marc Guéhi leaving in the window, but do you think City/Liverpool, someone goes aggressive for him and doesn't risk losing out on him in the summer when he's a free?
At the moment, Marc Guéhi holds all the cards. He's got a contract for the next 6 months. He can then leave for free, choose wherever he wants to go. In this window, he's got the opportunity to start speaking to clubs in Europe and sign a pre-contract for the summer. So the cards are close to him. For Premier League sides like Manchester City and Liverpool, it feels like this is your chance to act now. Now, for Manchester City, Pep Guardiola has made it clear he didn't expect much activity in January. They did a lot of business last January. He expects business to be done in the summer. The injuries to Vardiol, the injury to Ruben Diaz may change that, may change their feeling, but they've still got Kushinov, John Stones to come back, Nathan Ake's still there as well, and they brought back Elaine from Watford, who's been on loan there this season. So they've got the cover there, so they don't necessarily need to dip into the window. For Crystal Palace, it's a decision for Marc Guéhi. Does he want to stick there for 6 months and then choose a lovely contract at the end, by the way, where his contract will be worth a lot more? Or does he think, actually, now's the time, this is the time to move on, and perhaps Manchester City, Liverpool could be a destination?
Well, let's get the Liverpool side of things. Lola, you've been sitting there patiently, and I'm sure you've got lots to say, because is there a frustration at all? It looks like Antoine Semenyo, who we'll talk about in a minute as well, is going to Manchester City. You can't let Guéhi go there as well, can you? I mean, out of the two of them, is Guéhi the one you would need more?
I feel very conflicted about this because I'm very frustrated that we waited until the last week of the window to try and sort out the Guéhi deal in the summer.
That was a mistake, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that needed to be a priority much earlier in the window, especially after selling Jarrell Kwanzaa. The reality is, with the exception of Leone, who is such a young player, I don't know if you can really call him a senior centre-back signing, we haven't signed a centre-back since Ibu Konate in 2021, and that's negligent, really, if you're running a football club. So we certainly need a centre-back, but I do question whether Guéhi is right for us because he's 6 foot. Reece reliably informs me that he can do it all, and he's not weak in the air, but Liverpool are under aerial bombardment at the moment because we can't defend set pieces. Konate and Van Dijk both top the league for the most clearances and headers. So I question whether he's the right player for us in this scenario. Konate's always done better when he's had competition. Reece will disagree with me on this again, but I actually do think of fit and firing Ibu Konate, there's not many centre-backs better, so is Guéhi better? I don't know.
Has he been firing though, Konate? Maybe fit?
No, far from it. But I just wonder whether it'd be better for us to look at the long term, where there's big question marks around Konate's contract. We've only really got another 18 months of Virgil van Dijk. I think we need 2.
Is Marc Guéhi then the perfect guy to come in to not only play alongside Virgil van Dijk, but to also surpass Virgil van Dijk when he moves on? A leader, someone who's got such a strong head on his shoulders. Regardless of what was going on in the summer with the move to potentially happen to Liverpool not happening, he still dusted himself off, never complained, turned up to training, worked hard every single day. Surely that's the kind of player and defender and captain that Liverpool want.
Look, there's tons to like about him, and I think where Reece and I disagree is that I think Guéhi, while he would improve us right now, because as everyone has said, Konate is not playing well, I see him as a floor raiser, but not as a ceiling raiser. And whoever eventually replaces Van Dijk, Van Dijk is the best to ever do it, for me, to ever do it in the Premier League at centre-back. So I can't even put them in the same conversation. So no, I'm not sure he is the perfect guy.
Ever? Forever, ever?
Ever.
Go on, Reece.
I would just say on Marc Guéhi, I think when you talk about ceiling raisers and floor raisers, I think Marc Guéhi, probably his ceiling, he doesn't really have one. I feel like he could go to any team in the world and probably be their starting centre-back. And that's just his playing ability, not to talk about his leadership, like you say, his professionalism, to go through, having that move sort of taken away from him at the last minute and to be in the starting lineup the next week and to dust himself down and to play. And that's just him, the professional side. I think if you talk about him as a player, I think you don't get much better than Marc Guéhi.
You did say to me that Van Dijk was the best to ever do it off air.
Yeah, personal preference. He's my favourite ever Premier League centre-back. But I think Marc Guéhi's ceiling is crazy.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the actual Palace point of view on all of this, because obviously they're desperate to keep him. But Rob, as James says, the ball is in Guéhi's court, and there are plenty of courts he can go and play on next season.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not just Liverpool and Manchester City in that conversation as well. I'm sure he's having other conversations for sure, because he is quality. And you talk about, okay, who else is out there? Marc Guéhi's right in that top list of centre-backs in world football right now, where you think, okay, we can get him at a good price. He's quality. He brings something to every team. So he is all of those things. It would be very interesting, though, where his head is at, because I think 6 months ago, he would have had a slightly different way of looking at it than right now. I think right now, he widens his maybe approach a little bit more, because I think he would have wanted Liverpool 6 months ago, for sure.
Do you think that's changed considering Liverpool's season so far?
I think so, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if I'm in his shoes, I would look at it, because
You've got to be playing Champions League football at least next season, haven't you?
Exactly, yeah. Because he's at the stage where, what is the next step? The next step for Marc Guéhi is Champions League, is competing at that level consistently. Well, what's more guaranteed than a Liverpool?
So are you saying that
Manchester City?
He would look at the table now,
Liverpool.
Liverpool, right? And bearing in mind that Manchester United, Bradley, this is some good news for you, mate. Could be fourth. Could be fourth.
Could be fourth.
Who knows?
Will be.
If you do the business against Burnley, at least tonight before Liverpool play. Would Guéhi, Rob, be looking at that table and thinking, do you know what, it's too risky because Liverpool might not be playing Champions League football? Can he risk a season without playing in Europe's elite at his age now?
I don't think so, no, because now is the right time for him. And he's got this window, and of course the next probably 4 months, not even 6 months, next 4 months to really decide if it goes past. I don't think he'll go past this month. I think Man City want him right now. I think Liverpool want him right now. And I think there'll be 2 or 3 others that really, really want him, but I don't think they'll compete enough with those 2. So I actually think right now for him is the perfect time for him to go. I think it's going to be hard for Crystal Palace for sure.
Yeah.
But Guéhi's a wanted man, and I think he's going to make the right decision.
Yeah. Shall we hear from Oliver Glasner? Because this is the Crystal Palace boss speaking about his captain's future.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what will happen, and I mentioned these injuries can happen. I never know, but what I know, Marc will play tomorrow. Well, I expected he trained, but I don't know what will happen.
Reece, you are desperate to keep him, as I think you speak for a lot of Crystal Palace fans because of the money per place, and you've got a lot of places to climb in that table now. How do you replace Marc Guéhi?
That's really difficult. I think for a club like Crystal Palace, you don't necessarily replace him man for man. I think our recruitment's been pretty spot on. Maxence Lacroix, what a great signing that was. Daniel Munoz on the right, and a lot of that was done by Dougie Freedman when he was a sporting director, and obviously he's moved on now. So there is a sense of worry around who is now in charge of identifying those targets. So there is a worry replacing Guéhi. I think to an extent, maybe you don't. You adapt and you find a different style. But I think he's not, a cut and clear case where you replace him outright for us.